Hello, this is Hawk from Help Hawk Healing, where we're freeing human hearts. I'm going to make a slight adjustment. There we go. Today I'm discussing the 7 glandular systems and the 7 energy systems and how trauma might affect them. Since we store trauma in our nervous system and organs, this is an overview of what traumas may be stored and where. And these 7 systems are also identified with the chakra systems or esoteric energy centers. Now, I'm not a Reiki master, but I am certified in rapid transformational therapy, as well as an additional certification in somatic healing from the Center for Healing. And the soma is our body. So let's go over the systems and their possible traumas. Starting at the base of the spine is what is known as the root. And this one is specifically associated with safety and stability. It also has to do with our fight or flight response and is somewhat attached to our adrenal glands. When we've suffered trauma, we often go into what's known as adrenal overwhelm or adrenal overload because we're constantly living in a state of stress and constantly in a state of excitement or anxiousness. Any seeming life-threatening actions or situations will store here. Auto accidents, armed robberies, and abuse containing threats to one's life are examples. Such as if a child is beaten, if you do that again, I'll kill you. Or someone saying, if you do that again, I'll kill you. This can stick hard in our psyches or our minds and can store. And storing in this particular system, which is based at the root of the spine, the beginning or the ending, depending on how you look at it, of our nervous system, it's a very intrinsic place for us to store things. Trauma stores in the nervous system and is energy. And once we unlock the emotions attached to it, then the energy can flow, and it's just a memory. If we remember something and it's constantly, every time we remember it, it's painful, then the energy is stuck. And so we have to let it go. We have to get it flowing through the system. Some people would say that I'm basically speaking on Kundalini, but I'm not. Although raising your Kundalini can help with the traumas, it also can trigger the traumas and can be very difficult to deal with. My abuse recovery method here on YouTube is specifically designed to go to the stuck energies and to release the emotional attachment to them, those feelings that seem overwhelming. The affirmations that I've found that help with changing these beliefs and feelings held here are: I am grounded and supported. I joyfully nourish my mind, body, and spirit. I have enough. I know enough. I am enough. And I accept that good health is my natural state. Now, while these aren't necessarily taking care of the trauma in a specific way, they are reinforcing new beliefs that the trauma may be covering the possibility of. And so repeating them helps to reinforce in us, and the repetition is what we learn by anyway. How did we learn the mathematics or the alphabet? By repetition. So we can learn by repetition how to overcome traumas without specifically going into a trauma and releasing its emotional energy and getting it flowing. It can take longer, or with some people, it may not take as long. But as I said, my abuse recovery method here on YouTube is specifically designed to go to traumas, release the emotional energy, and get the energy flowing again. The second one, or the sacral, is called the seat of the soul, and it is associated with our sexuality, creativity, and relationships. It is also associated with our gonads, or ovaries and testes, and this has to do with our reproduction functions, our fertility, and our sexual development. So traumas held here can have sometimes devastating effects on our physical maturity. It can also have definite effects on our sexual maturity. Sexual abuse, stifled creativity, and relational abuse, verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual, can be stored here, and they result in guilt, shame, addictions, and emotional codependency. I've experienced all of these, so I understand this one very well, and it can result in serious dysfunction in certain ways and overfunction in other ways. I used to have a serious problem with lust, and that's something I still have to deal with. And I used to have a seriously addictive personality that alcohol, drugs, sex, porn, and I separate the two because they're not the same, were my mainstays. And I was stuck hard. There are certain wounds I'm still working with, but for the most part, I've released all of the energy here and am working to release the last of it by using a form of the abuse recovery method every single day. Some affirmations that help stabilize this energy are: I forgive the past and embrace my life fully. I realize all of the goodness that surrounds me. I am creative and strong. I am capable. I listen to my inner truth, and I honor and care for myself. When these things aren't reinforced in childhood, and when, say, early childhood abuse happens, especially sexual, as happened to me at 4, these things can get out of whack. All of our belief systems help to reinforce our physical systems. It's the holistic system, the body. And our glandular systems are very important for making specific chemicals that regulate all of the actions and functions of the body and all of the organs of the body. And they even regulate and act on our own thought forms. The third center is located behind the belly button, and it's known as the solar plexus chakra, and is associated with our own personal power, social interactions, self-esteem, and competence. And this one specifically has to do with blood sugar and insulin production and energy levels within the body. This is very important, especially when we look at the obesity rate that is rising around the world and the increase in diabetes because of it. It's a matter of when we feel satiated, we stop. But wounds here can make it to where we never feel satiated, where we never feel comfortable or like we've had enough to eat. And that's important to know. This also can happen from malnutrition in countries where food is scarce. And I don't understand, since we have enough land on this planet, why we can't grow enough food for everyone. I've never figured that out. And since we have the technology, why we can't have enough clean water for everyone. Suppression of individuality, abusive and oppressive authority figures, especially parents, self-control and self-responsibility are located here. And oftentimes when people use their authority to especially deal with our diets and our intakes, this can take away from our responsibility because we have to rely on their responsibility. And this also can affect our self-control as far as overeating, because when we're younger, we didn't get enough. Now we're going to make sure we do get enough. Affirmations that help here are, I am enough, and what I do is enough. I love myself. I value myself. I trust myself. I am a powerful, radiant being of light, and I permit myself to fully enjoy everything I do. That last one is important to understand, because our enjoyment is part of our expression. And when that has been stifled, when that has been kept under wraps, it's important to learn how to have fun and to enjoy things. There are things that I am learning now to enjoy again, that I enjoyed in childhood, that I enjoyed as a young adult, but because of relationships and things, I had to squelch that enjoyment. Now then, I'm relearning how to enjoy myself, how to simply sit back and enjoy watching a movie, or play my guitar, or write a song, or sing even, or tell a story, write a story, or just enjoy sitting and doing nothing for a while. And I'm not talking about meditation. I'm just talking about sitting outside and watching the birds, or sitting outside and watching squirrels. Just enjoying the moment. The fourth center is located in or behind the heart, and it allows for communication between the body and mind. It is our source or seat of compassion and love. And this one is important because this affects the thymus and has to do with our immune system development, as well as how well we fight diseases. And traumas here can restrict our immune system to the point where we have immunodeficiencies and easily become sick. Sickly children that have been abused, that haven't been shown love, have a lot of allergies. And they also get sick as far as colds and things like that a lot. So thinking about this, how can we adjust it? The lack of parental love, abusive relationships, betrayals, loss of loved ones through death or just discontinued relationships, feelings of being alone lead to emotional reactivity and difficulty forgiving ourselves and others. And forgiveness is extremely important. Forgiveness doesn't say it's okay that the other person did what they did. Forgiveness says that we're not going to carry the weight of it anymore, and it can be very difficult to do. I can tell you this, I'm still working on forgiving my parents for certain things. I'm very grateful for them. I'm very grateful that they did the best that they could, that they knew how to do, but I'm working to forgive them of everything and other people. And one of the things about forgiveness is forgiving ourselves for what we have done or for what we didn't do and knew we should do. And this one can be extremely difficult. Affirmations that will help here are I love and accept myself just as I am. I deserve love, health, happiness, and prosperity. I give and receive love effortlessly and unconditionally, and I feel stronger, more alive, and energized each and every day. It's important that we have emotional connection. It's important that we feel connected to others for the sake of love, for the sake of expressing our emotions, and feeling safe to do so, and expressing our compassion, which means co-suffering, but which means we're able to see what goes on with another person and to sit with them and their situation and allow them to express themselves as equally as we are ours. I really suggest learning to listen, not to respond, but to hear and take in every word that another person is saying. Just as if you were watching a movie, that you knew every word in it was important to finding out who the villain is and why they did what they did. It's just as important to give compassion to the other person and to hear what they're saying, to not presume or assume you understand and know what they're saying before they've even said it, or listening simply to respond, because they may make a point later in several sentences that they're saying that you're going to miss because of just simply overthinking. And part of this comes from the heart. And one practice I have is taking my hand and putting it over my heart when I'm listening, just simply to keep myself in my heart center and allow myself to listen to what the other person is actually saying all the way through, and then take an extra second to form my response. The fifth center is located in the throat and is associated with communication and speaking the truth. And this has to do with the thyroid and the parathyroid. And this really has a lot to do with our metabolism and how we use calcium, which is very important for more than just our bones. If we've had our communication crushed, or we've been informed that everything we say is a lie, narcissistic abuse oftentimes that has a scapegoat. It's like, no, he's lying, and you don't have any proof of it, so you can't tell this authority figure that this authority figure did that, and this authority figure is saying you're lying, and get this person to believe it. So that can really squelch your communication abilities as you move on. Not only that, but if you've ever been told to shut up, or you've been condemned for telling the truth, or no one wants to hear you, and others' refusal to even listen to you in relationships, this can really instill and install trauma within this area. And it can make it very hard for us to. Some affirmations that can help here are: I easily speak my truth. I easily express myself. I own my power and feel fully alive. I am calm, confident, and centered. I trust that my life is unfolding exactly as it should. And trusting that our life is unfolding exactly as it should is part of seeing that life is happening for us, through us, as us, instead of just to us. And in our material world, it seems that everything's always happening to us. When in the energetic world, or quantum world, where our spirit lives, things are happening as us. We attract who and what we are, not who and what we want. And this goes for experiences as much as people. The sixth center is located inner behind the pineal gland, or pineal gland, which is located basically right behind here, farther back in the brain, but there's a reason it's called the third eye chakra. And this has to do with regulation of body functions and controlling all the hormones that our glands are being released. Problems located here with trauma can result in disillusionment, confusion, misdirection. It can be caused by deflection of truth and difficulties imagining the future and even remembering the past. And also, you can suffer from nightmares. One thing I would suggest is if you suffer from nightmares, check out the work of Charlie Morley, who taught Buddhist monks how to lucid dream. And one important thing he teaches in lucid dreaming is when you're having a nightmare, whatever it is that's scaring you, run towards it, give it a hug, and tell it you love it. Because it's an aspect of your personality or psyche coming to the fore and wishing to be recognized by you. And this seems totally counterintuitive because it would seem dangerous. Affirmations for this specific center are: I am passionate, powerful, and productive. I am guided by my inner wisdom. I am connected with my highest truth. And I am at all times safe, loved, and guided. And this comes from knowing that our higher self and our inner being are helping us. They are guiding us. And if we listen to them, if we get quiet and listen to our heart center, we can hear with intuition. Intuition isn't necessarily always foreknowledge of something that's going on. It's knowing which path to take when you're standing there when the trail forks. And it can be very important. Should I buy this one or should I buy this one? One thing that would help is to put your hand on your heart and ask yourself that question. The top of the head is known as the crown. This one also, the third eye had to do with the pituitary gland. This one has to do with the pineal gland. And this has to do with our observer eye, our consciousness, spirituality, and divine awareness. It's associated with devotion, inspiration, the self, and understanding, especially spiritual understanding. And traumas in this center can happen when we're consistently exposed to overriding dogmas and misguided teachings. It can also result in fear and rejection of spirituality, fear of knowing ultimate truth, fear of accepting our truth. And this is an important center because it is connected to everything. Our brain is basically an antenna for our consciousness. And it can disrupt the signal. It can make it overbearing, or it can make it very weak, and we can feel a very serious sense of disconnection. This also helps to regulate things because of our comfort level with knowing the safety and guidance that our inner being is giving us, or our higher being is giving us. Affirmations for this center are: I honor my body as a temple of my soul. I am love. I am joy. I am freedom. I am peace. I am complete and one with my divine energy. I am peaceful, whole, and balanced. And as I said, this is by no means exhaustive. And it's in no way more than just simply an overview of some quick research I've done on my own that I thought I would share with you. My abuse recovery method here on YouTube, as I said, is based on removing the stuck emotional energy and getting the energy flowing again. By repeating these particular affirmations after you've removed the energy or gotten it moving again, you can build in a new belief system that helps to reinforce that the trauma is gone and that you are a whole person, complete within yourself. Everything you need is within you. And it is important for us to realize this as we go through our daily lives. We are whole and complete within ourselves. Sometimes we do need external guidance in order to understand what's going on. And that's why there's such a huge field in therapy right now, because we all are going through a lot. So things are wonderful in the world, even though we might see them as not. And I'll tell you, it's incredible when we start releasing these traumas and moving them out, that we find a new way of living. It literally changes our world because it changes our perspective. And we're no longer attached to what's going on in the external world in the same way. Releasing trauma is important. And my whole thrust, even with my music, is helping people to free their hearts. Just free it. Shattering those heavy emotional chains of the traumatic past. That's why I made the abuse recovery method. And I'm working on a more complete and cohesive version that will be released on a different platform. And then I will also make an expanded version that targets very specific wounds within the nervous system so that these traumas can be released. And hello, I'm glad to see you. And I'm not happy or unhappy with Trump winning. It's just a matter of what is. I would say pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, Dorothy. You already have the ruby slippers. My goal in helping so many others in incorporating their new beliefs is so that we don't deal with so much fear in the world, which is inflicted on us from society and culture, through the media, through politics, through religion, through schools and education. We're taught to fear everything. And we don't need to live with so much fear. Our human body is a temporary existence. It's not permanent. And it will be continuing until it doesn't anymore. It's simply a vehicle for our consciousness to experience this world. And whether you're atheistic or religious or spiritual, it makes no difference. Our consciousness is not a part of our body. And in fact, our body is made up of 37 to 100 trillion cells, individual we's making up me. This isn't me. It's just the vehicle I get into and move around the planet, just like I get into a car and go to work or go to the store. So I encourage you, just like with a car, take care of the different systems that operate your body and work to tune them up, work to revamp them, work to, if you want to, soup them up. I'm going to be spending the rest of this year doing my lives at 10 a.m. Eastern here on YouTube and on my Facebook homepage. And what I'm going to do is specifically live hypnotherapy sessions. These will be a general session and will allow whatever comes up within you to come up, and then you can release it. And this is not only for your benefit of releasing your trauma and freeing your heart, but is also to help me keep in practice with working with clients and working with groups. So I hope you'll join me. And I ask that you do so that you can free your heart of the heavy emotional chains of your traumatic past. This is Hawk from Helpful Hawk Healing. And remember, I love you.